Thursday, 12:31 p.m. Expert trackers Bart Bjorkman and Darcy Fear are called out to search for a missing hiker. Callie Chatton was reported overdue when she failed to return from a morning stroll through the woods near her friend's farm, where she was visiting.
We know that the young lady has gone on this trail. It's a well-used trail. Darcy's up behind me now trying to establish her footprints.
This is an exercise. The two trackers, Bart and Darcy, with more than 30 years tracking experience between them, will attempt to find Callie, a Nelson Search and Rescue Team member. The trackers will follow Callie's tracks through 5 square kilometers of varied terrain until they find her. They've got 3 hours. But Callie isn't going to make this easy for them. With a 30-minute head start, she will attempt to elude the two experts, trying her best not to leave any clues along the way.
I've taken myself on a little walk to get lost and see if they can find me.
Bart and Darcy move to the top of the hill from the subject's last known position and make their first important discovery in a track trap, a soft patch of ground likely to capture a shoe sole impression.
What we're seeing here is a fairly good print, as prints go for us. You can actually see the outline of the toe here and some of the pattern of the sole. What Darcy has done is he's measured from the heel to the toe, the width of the heel, and the length of the heel. He's also drawn in his picture all of these different formations or patterns of the tread.
These measurements are compared to the known size and brand of the subject's shoes, as well as any other information gathered from interviews with family and friends.
We got the length is right to 10 3/4 inches, 4 1/4 wide, so it's a female hiker boot for sure.
This is their prime sign, the signature print they'll use to find Callie, and will help establish her initial direction of travel.
I think we'll follow her up this trail and see where she goes across this field.
The trackers mark the print with surveyor's tape to prevent contamination, then set the stride length and length of the footprint on the tracking sticks using elastics.
One of the things we do when we're tracking is to identify the stride length. The stride length is the distance between the toe of one foot and the heel of the next. The second thing we do is we put the footprint on our stick. So this would be the stride, this would be the footprint length. By putting this down on top of the footprint that we can find, we know that the stride is roughly this distance. We can actually pivot our stick back and forth and figure out roughly where the next footprint should be. And sometimes, because we're dealing with such small evidence, this is really the only way that we can actually figure out where the next footprint's going to be. It's just basically a direction of travel device.
You see the west.
Establishing direction of travel can narrow the search area significantly.
Trackers are usually called in at the very beginning of a search. The reason being is by having trackers go in and establish direction of travel, search managers can actually look at a topographical map and see where the most natural places for people to walk.
A lost subject can travel at an average pace of 3 kilometers per hour, which continually increases the size of the search area. By establishing a direction of travel and considering the most likely areas a person would walk, a search area this big can be narrowed down to focus on an area this big. It's now 45 minutes into the search, and the tracking team has hit a roadblock, a hard-packed field that shows no sign.
At 250 pounds, if I step on the ground, there's really no pattern. There's nothing you can see there. So what we're going to do is Darcy's going out about 20 meters and he's going to cut for sign. He's actually going to cut across the top of the field, hopefully finding where the young lady walked through.
Cutting is a common practice, with one or more tracker teams searching ahead while one stays on prime. If one of the sign-cutting teams finds a new prime sign, they become the primary team, and the other teams leapfrog ahead, and so on. This speeds up the search and helps to continually refine the subject's direction of travel. As he cuts, Darcy drags a stick in the ground, thereby distinguishing his tracks from other sign.
Because we have a large field here, what we'd look for too is what we call shine or flagging. Shine is just basically what we see when the lighter sides of the plant or the foliage will show up, and the sun will actually shine on it differently than it will the darker plants along either side. The other thing too is the flagging is the way the grass is bent down. So in this particular case, you can see that the direction of travel was this way.
The cutting pays off. They find more sign on the northwest side of the field.
We can see a little bit of a toe dig here, and it lines up with our stick. There's another toe dig here, another one here, a big one here. It's definitely not animal, but it lines up with our stick from toe to heel.
It's turning into a beautiful day to get myself lost. Sun's coming out, at least a wee bit, and found a perfect spot to hide out. I just need to get myself up to these bluffs, see if I can find a good vantage spot.
As Callie settles into her hiding place, the tracker team works their way towards some woods, finding more sign in the softer earth.
What do we got here? What's the next one? Here. That ain't no deer. That's a lug.
There's lugs.
That looks like it's heel.
What we have to do as trackers now is what we call make or break this line of sign. We have to follow along and see, because it could be a hunter, it could be anybody. What we have to do is see if we can actually find some proof that it's actually our person, our lost person.
The team is definitely back on track as they follow Callie's sign into a forested area.
Fresh break, and you can almost see the whole footprint here. Just crunched everything. All these plants have been broken off fresh. This is definitely not elk, this is human. Stepped right here.
Yeah, I got something real good here.
Bart and Darcy pick up speed now, narrowing the gap as they find sign after sign.
Oh, stand by.
They must be getting close to finding Callie.
See, that looks like lugs kind of.
Yeah, there's a lot of disturbance right up there. But look at this here as well.
Yeah, I see that. No, I don't think that's her. No, I think it's too small for her. Absolutely. This has all been pulled back. If this was pulled apart, that's her toe.
I can definitely hear their voices, and I can see them just coming into one of the clearings through the trees, so they're definitely on my track.
The trackers make their way down an old logging road. Callie's footprints are well defined in the soft soil.
Hey guys! Hey, how's it going?
Good.
Callie is found after 2 hours of searching. In the end, Bart and Darcy followed her tracks across 2 fields and through a forest till they found her. Had this been a real search, the search manager would have employed numerous sign-cutting teams working ahead to continually refine the subject's direction of travel. Ground SAR members would also be on scene searching areas of high probability and calling out for the lost person. Callie shows the trackers her route across the field.
I saw some prints right here, right?
Tracking is one of these things like you're not born to it. It's just a learned skill. So it's just a matter of getting the right training and then doing lots of practice from there.